Hello and welcome to this episode of Sportsy. Now I'm joined, I've ditched the boys, Shane and Elijah. I don't know where they are, probably covering football for Football First or something like that. But I'm joined by the lovely Jaylee Sapias. Hi Jaylee.
Hi.
We're in the bleachers, where are we?
We're down here at the Bisini Sports Grounds where all the action is happening over the weekend.
Yes, there was softball, rugby touch, cricket.
We had netball as well.
Right on the other side. So this is probably the sporting hub of Port Moresby at the moment, where a lot of the sports are taking place. Now, there was also the Capital Rugby Sevens competition.
Yes, this weekend saw round 2 of the pre-season.
And Lorraine catches up with Paul Joseph, and they have an update on the Capital Rugby Sevens.
Thanks guys. Now joining me up here in the rugby office is CRU competition manager Paul Joseph, otherwise known as PJ to many of you out there in this rugby fraternity. Now PJ, tell us about the current CRU pre-season competition that kicked off 2 weeks ago.
Yes, we just completed week 2 of our club pre-season sevens. We had 12 clubs participate last week, and 4 of those 12 clubs managed to have second team meets, so we had a 16-team competition. It's a 3 weekends club sevens competition. This coming weekend will be the final weekend, and then we go into our pre-season for Rugby 15s, which is another 2 to 3 weekend competition, again just to get the clubs to get themselves organized in terms of the player base. Sevens, it's only 7 players, 5 reserves, and the 15s you get a bigger number, 23 players, 15 playing and 7 reserves. Give them that opportunity to get themselves prepared for the season proper commencing in March. We have a modified competition this year. Another big reason for us having a modified competition is having no competition last year. This year we're looking at just consolidating clubs to consolidate their numbers. In terms of the playing stock, most of the clubs have lost their players to other sports, so they're slowly getting back their players. We will have a 10-week competition. 12 clubs have been confirmed. We got 2 clubs from Valley Hunters and Crusaders have been promoted to Premier this year, and we have 3 divisions, 4 when you include the women. So we have the Premier Division, A Reserve Division, Under 19s, and the women's grades playing this season. 12 clubs put into 2 pools of 6 teams, and they will play fortnightly. The quality of rugby over the last 2 weekends is starting to come back. It's just the numbers for the clubs that we're worried about. And for us, as I mentioned, it is to consolidate our numbers for this year. At the end of this season, from the 12 clubs, the top 8 for both pools will then be separated. They will become the Premier Division. Then we'll bring back the B grade division, so we'll have the Premier, A grade, B grade, Under 19 and Women's for next season.
Season 2016, however, may see a few changes made with the format of the draws, with the fields being reserved for upgrading for the 2016 FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup. CRU will only have 1 field to roll out the tournament.
It's all about consolidating numbers for each club, so we have only 4 grades. We have the Premier, A Reserve, Under 19 and the Women's. The Premier, A Reserve and Under 19s is compulsory for all 12 clubs, whereas the women's competition, it's optional which of the 12 clubs, main clubs, have the numbers or can be able to have the women's team. They will be put in it. So it's not compulsory for all clubs to have. With the 12 club competition, we have brought up Valley Hunters and Crusaders from the first division, and they make up the 12. And we have a modified competition this year where teams will play fortnightly in 2 pools.
That being one of the only minor changes, school rugby-based team Valley Hunters will now enter the coming season as a senior team playing in a higher division.
We have brought up Valley Hunters and Crusaders from the first division, and they make up the 12. And we have a modified competition this year where teams will play fortnightly in 2 pools. We haven't lost much in terms of the actual game being played. As you saw in last year when we had the MIU Sevens, we had a big interest shown. This year as well, we had the 4 clubs that helped participated in the MIU Cup: Fly, McGregor, Taram, and Pomdiwai. They expressed their intention to join. However, because of the situation we have with the fields, we've asked them to reapply for next season. But the enthusiasm is there for our players. High quality rugby straight from week 1, and it's still happening today, as you can see. We haven't lost much in terms of the actual game being played. As you saw in last year when we had the MIU Sevens, we had a big interest shown. This year as well, we had the 4 clubs that helped participated in the MIU Cup: Fly, McGregor, Taram, and Pomdiwai. They expressed their intention to join. However, because of the situation we have with the fields, we've asked them to reapply for next season. But the enthusiasm is there for our players. High quality rugby straight from week 1, and it's still happening today, as you can see.
And welcome back to the show. And the last segment you heard from Lorraine about all that will be happening with CRU and PNG RFU, so there's a lot to look forward to in Sevens in the coming weeks. Now, I'm stepping away from Rugby Union and to Jaylee Hunters. Sorry, not Jaylee Hunters, well, that's a nickname we gave Jaylee since she follows the Hunters very closely. Jaylee, what's going to be happening with the Hunters very shortly?
Yes, so next week we have the first trial match at the new National Football Stadium against the Penrith Panthers New South Wales Cup side.
And that team is not just New South Wales side, they have some of their key star players included in that side as well.
Yes, they have players from the NRL as well as the New South Wales Cup competition.
So when's that happening?
We've got that next week, February 6th at the National Football Stadium.
And here's Jaylee with more on the Hunters as they prepare to open the new National Football Stadium.
PNG's favourite team, the PNG Hunters, have agreed to host the first game to be played at the new National Football Stadium against the Penrith Panthers New South Wales Cup side on the 6th of February. PNG RFL CEO Bob Cutmore made this announcement.
We're here to announce that the first trial game that the SP Hunters will be played at the National Football Stadium on the 6th of February. The media release that we've just given you is fairly self-explanatory, and it's all about celebrating the legacy and the tradition and the history of this wonderful ground which was formerly known as Lloyd Robson Oval. This ground has a lot of history to rugby league, and I do thank the trustees of the National Football Stadium for asking the Hunters, which is the favourite team of PNG Rugby League, to open the ground officially with our game against the Penrith Panthers New South Wales Cup side on the 6th of February.
The fixture between the Hunters and the Panthers will see the official opening of the National Football Stadium. The PNG RFL and PNG Hunters acknowledge the rugby league legacy associated with the National Football Stadium, formerly known as the Lloyd Robson Oval. Sports Minister Justin Zachenko said it was only fitting the stadium is officially opened by the country's national sport, Rugby League.
Working together for the benefit of sport in Papua New Guinea, and especially our number one sport, Rugby League. And we look forward to the Hunters totally beating and annihilating Penrith Panthers on the 6th of Feb. On the 6th of Feb. So boys, no pressure, but let's just get on with the job. And of course, from there, the Intrust Super Cup takes over. So well done to everybody involved. Thank you to the Hunters, to the chairman, and the CEO working together with the trustee of our new National Football Stadium for the benefit of rugby league in our country. Thank you.
Following the announcement, the Hunters' opponents, the Penrith Panthers New South Wales Cup side, has named the final 24-man squad. Jamie Soward has been named at 5'8", along with fellow first graders Suwaya Matagi, Leilani Latu, Adam Watena Zeleznik, and experienced prop Sam McKenzie. Panthers coach Steve Georgelis will be able to draw on a wealth of talent from his squad to give PNG Hunters coach Michael Marum a number of tough decisions as he looks towards naming the Hunters' first game team of the 2016 season. Trial game at the NSF come February 6 is a one-off special event as the Hunters are still in negotiation in respect to the host venue for the 2016 season. So as the Sports Minister mentioned, it is only fitting that the Hunters open the new National Football Stadium,
which will in turn be the home of rugby league in Papua New Guinea. Anyway, stay with us. We have more sports scene after these short messages.
Welcome back to Sports Scene. Now, Dion, I hear there's a volleyball competition at Tatana Village.
Yes, there is a volleyball competition happening in Tatana. It's an annual competition. It started off with the juniors last week, and today the senior competition kicks off. And it's such a good tournament. It attracts teams from throughout NCD as well as the Central Province. Some teams come as far as Hula Village. So here's more on the annual Tatana volleyball competition.
Over 20 teams have registered for both the Open Division and the Junior Divisions. The Under-21 competition has already begun and the seniors are set to kick off next week. The tournament has attracted many teams as far as Hula Village in the Central Province. Many of the players part of the national volleyball team, PNG Hunters, are familiar faces that compete in the annual tournament.
I'm first time like I'm hosting play tournament, so I'm trying best for me play like game. Good win or lose, at least me play game.
Na sample teammates play and first time play lo kain competition osema.
Yeah, I'm logata first time like I'm maybe big tournament player. Mila toka big thank you ko sponsor lompla mara Diana Sanata na para Ruben Sanata na sponsor all two plus sponsoring nam bla kam play. Especially thank you lo Vitis lo sets now block lo wearing thank you straightly bla and so.
The Tatana Araira volleyball tournament is worth a total of about 25,000 kina, which will be distributed among winners. The players competing were asked to play in the true nature of sport and to abide by tournament rules to have a successful competition. Now back to the Bissini Sports Ground was the Port Moresby men's softball competition. After a quiet year last year due to the Pacific Games, the men's softball competition is back this year in Port Moresby.
Basically because of the SP Games that came about, we did not have a diamond, which is a field to play on. And we lost a season, so people kind of lost the interest. But when we started the pre-season, there was a lot of interest there. We've got a lot of softballers. It's a family game in Port Moresby, and everybody participated. All the teams came back and joined, apart from another like 2 teams. Pre-season was very good. There was a very, very big interest in the game. We kicked off very well in the pre-season, 2 weekends.
The 2016 competition kicked off strongly following the pre-season with 2 divisions. Competing in 2 rounds of competitions before the finals will be played.
Okay, this is the men's softball competition, Port Moresby Softball Association. Round 1 is ending. These are the last games. We've got 2 rounds in this season. Basically, there are 9 teams in total. Like A grade, there's B grades, but we've got a total of 9 clubs, A grade, B grade, and this is the end of round 1 now, this weekend. This season will go up until April, will be the finals. But before that, there will be national championships with the Softball Federation will run. That's going to come about during the Easter weekend. But the season itself will end around April.
And the national championships, is that going to be staged here or where is it going to be?
Yeah, the national championship is basically facilitated by the Softball Federation. It's going to be held in Port Moresby. We've got new diamonds, 2 diamonds here, but there's going to be another 2 arranged for the games. There's a lot of interest. We've got teams coming in from other centers. The sports for that weekend will be really great, you know.
And are you looking forward to the competition actually getting in the full swing of things?
Yes, we are. Port Moresby Association will have 2 teams as usual in the men's. We've got a good lot of players here. A couple of them are in the PNG side, so we're looking forward to a very good match.
Definitely. And what do you have to say for those people who are out there at home who haven't really watched softball and maybe are interested to just see what's going on?
Yeah, softball is a family game. There's no tackles involved here, but there's bat, ball, gloves. You'll see, as you see in the background, it's a family game. We've got a lot of families around here. You want to watch softball? Come to the Bicini Diamonds. We've basically mixed up the games now on Saturday where the women's run it, the Women's Association. But we've got men's games also, and likewise on Sundays we've got women's games also being run also with the men's.
Oh, great. Thank you very much, sir, for your time, and I hope you guys' season goes perfectly according to plan.
Excellent. We welcome all the Port Moresby residents to come and visit Bicini Diamonds and see the games here.
With the new softball facility from the Pacific Games, the Port Moresby Softball Association is now able to use proper facilities to host their competition games and is in full swing.
Well, Jaylee, looks like we've come to the end of tonight's episode of Sports Scene.
Now, before we go, here's a quick look at what we covered on tonight's show.
Capital Rugby Union Competition Manager Paul Joseph briefs us on the CRU Pre-season and the commencement dates for season proper.
Yes, we just completed week 2 of our club pre-season 7th. We had 12 clubs participate last week. And 4 of those 12 clubs managed to have 2 second team meets, so we had a 16-team competition.
Hunters to open National Football Stadium against Penrith Panthers next week.
We need to announce that the first trial game that the SP Hunters will be played at the National Football Stadium on the 6th of February. The media release that we've just given you is fairly self-explanatory, and it's all about celebrating the legacy and the tradition and the history of this wonderful ground, which was formerly known as Lloyd Robson Oval.
Tatana volleyball attracts teams from NCD and the Rigo district in the Central Province, and softball underway in the nation's capital.
That's not all. On Wednesday, Football First brings us all the action from all the football that's been happening throughout the country as well.
Is it soccer or football? Because I'm getting a little bit frustrated.
Well, you know what? I don't even understand that question. There is no such a thing as soccer. Where I'm come from is called culture, but in any case, it's football. So we should get it straight. It's football. There is no soccer. You got it?
Well, you did a bit of research. In fact, I did a bit of research as well. And here's proof that this is called football and not soccer.
In my country, this is football.
Adriana Lima.
Adriana Lima.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with Adriana Lima.
Now that's all we have for you on this episode of Sports Scene.
For more information of anything we've discussed, you can find us on MTV online and on Facebook, MTV Sports. That's a wrap from Jaylee and I. Join us same time next week. Good night.
Good night.